Should I speak now? Because I don't. Oh, good evening. We are here tonight with our third and final Friends and Family PPR Redraft League draft on the Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel. Let's kick it off. Hey, there we are. It's good to see you all. We've got in the studio tonight, we have Ben Wassley, also known as the Fantasy First Down. We also have our good friend Derek, who won't be drafting with us, but was kind enough to join us to run the boards. Sometime in the next hour or so, we hope to have our boss, Sky Guasco, join us. He's taking care of some business, personal business, but hopefully he'll be here in a while. I see we have some folks already in the chat room. We have Fluff Daddy, who is drafting, let's see, he is drafting number 5. We have Kyle Patillo, who is toe 7685, will be drafting number 7. Ben will be drafting 8th. I will be drafting 9th. Here's Steve Michelson. Steve is drafting number 2. He is Skoland, New Hampshire on our board. Uncle Ted's in the room. We've got, it looks like he's telling us his draft picks. Jacobs in round 1, Nico Collins round 2, Kyron Williams round 3, Mike Evans round 4, Dante Adams round 5, and DJ Moore round 6. Hello, Fluff Daddy. How you doing tonight? Also, we have in the studio, we have Captain Whoopass, but I have not heard him or been able to add him to the stage. Captain, can you hear us? Are you there? Because we cannot hear you, but we'll keep trying to get in. Oh, is that you, Captain? Nope. So we'll keep trying to get Captain Whoopass into the studio. So I'm going to go down the order of the draft. I won't give away any real names unless somebody wants us to. The first pick in the draft is going to be sleeper user Frank Grimes. He's a friend of Razzball. Second will be Skowlin, New Hampshire. Third will be Sky, who will be drafting. He just won't be in the studio for a while. Fourth is GC Sports Guy, using Don Corbin as a username right now. I guess he grabbed his wife's username. Fluff Daddy will be number 5. Captain Whoopass, who is in the studio, will be number 6. Toe 7685, that's Kyle. He will be number 7. Ben will be number 8. I will be number 9. Pigpen 9 will be number 10. Sherman Tank 474 will be number 11, and Fantasy Queen Roxanne, I've known for quite some time on Twitter. We've followed each other's accounts, and she will be at the turn on number 12. So I think we probably can get going here anytime. Anybody else want to say anything before we start up?
No, let's get this party started.
Yeah, looking forward to this. It's nice to. I mean, obviously like to compete, but it's going to be fun for me just to watch and see how this turns out.
I'm sure it's going to be pretty relaxing rather than trying to draft and do this at the same time. So, Uncle Ted says he's going full-blown Bengals stack in his second draft here. Yep, Chase Brown, T. Higgins, Burrow, and Chase. Oh, Jamar Chase, Chase Brown, T. Higgins, and Joe Burrow. That'll be a fun. You'll have a nice week off, but that should be a solid squad the rest of the year. So anyway, I am going to kick off the draft. Hopefully Frank Grimes is ready to go. We will start right now.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Okay, Frank's on the clock. 3 minutes to go. Anybody looking for a favorite in the first round? What would you like to get at round 8? Just, you don't have to say a pick or a player exactly. Just we're 1 quarterback league, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, tight end, and 2 wide receiver, running back, tight end, flex players.
I think it's going to be really
interesting. Ben, you got a position you want to fill early, or are you going to let the board fall to you?
I think it's going to be all about value and seeing what happens. I think the early picks are kind of going to pick themselves. I think we'll see there we go. Chase Bijan off the board first too. I don't think there's a shock there at all. Gibbs going at 3, to me, that's a little bit too early. I'm really worried about the O-line in Detroit. I feel like it's an awkward spot being at 3 because you can take Gibbs there, but you could equally take Barkley. You could take Jefferson. It is a tough spot, especially in PPR.
Yeah, but it's pretty good because you're more likely than not to get a real strong guy, even like a CeeDee Lamb, or if you really want to swing for the fences and hope he stays healthy, McCaffrey. Barkley would be a good choice there. So far we've had Jamar Chase come off the board, Bijan Robinson, and Jamar Gibbs. And like Ben said, there's no real surprises there. We do have Don Corbin in the room, so he's probably pondering his pick right now. Next up will be Fluff Daddy.
This seems to be about the place where, like you both said, the first 3 are somewhat interchangeable, but they're consensus that the top 3 picks, and this is where you start to see some changes. You'll either see, like you said, Barkley or Jefferson. Lamb is starting to tick up into this area, and so really this is kind of the pivot point, I think, for those in the middle. What's done at 4 will kind of dictate the next 2 or 3 picks. So this will be interesting, taking all its time. So perhaps, he's thinking about this as well. Which way am I going to go, and then how is that going to affect the next few picks? So this is really the first place in the drafts that I've done where you got to make a good decision.
It's funny, Steve, not sure he's happy with his pick. Bijan or bust, I guess, but I don't see why not there. He's a popular pick at number 2 in 1 quarterback leagues. The thing about these leagues is it's always funny to see to take a guess when the first quarterback's going to go off the board. I've seen it anywhere from late first to mid third or even later.
Yeah, it seems to depend on what league you're in as to when the quarterbacks go. But as soon as 1 goes, there's going to be another 4 going within the next round or so. It only takes 1 person to trigger it, and all of a sudden there's always a run.
Okay, well, there's an auto pick. That's Justin Jefferson. It says he's in the draft room. I wonder why. Wonder why the clock ran out. Maybe he's just on the computer. He just was away from it. Oh, here's Jamie.
Looks like our good friend Jamie.
How you doing tonight? Thanks for joining. It's good to see you again. Jamie's one of our good supporters, man. Oh, it certainly is, Jamie.
Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. I want to get Jamie's advice on 8th pick. Jamie, what are you thinking? Do I go wide receiver or running back here?
While Jamie's contemplating that, we got the 5th pick in the draft made.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb. It's nice to like I said, no big surprises here. I think this will be the first round's not usually pretty tight. Towards the end, you might see a little bit of fluctuation. Ben, Jamie's asking, what pick are you? Yep, there he is, number 8.
Yeah, pick 8 for me. Interesting seeing 3 wide receivers in the first 5 picks, but I think it makes a lot of sense when you've got 3 wide receiver spots and a couple of flex spots in PPR. You do see wide receivers go earlier. Amon-Ra St. Brown there is pretty wild, though. That's very interesting.
And that was made by Captain Whoop-Ass.
I think
let's see if we can bring him on and talk about that pick. Captain, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
We sure can.
Oh.
Welcome
Yeah,
to the
we
show.
can hear you.
Welcome. How you doing?
We're all doing pretty good. You happy with your first pick, Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Well, I was hoping either Jefferson or Lamb would fall to me, but I decided to go with St. Brown over Barkley. I have some concerns about him.
The workload from last year.
Couldn't pull the trigger on him. Yeah, he had a
that
huge
seems to
workload
be
last year.
That seems to be the main thing I hear about, avoiding Barkley. I think at a spot like 7, I think it's hard to avoid him. I think you got to take the swing.
Yeah, could have been a mistake. We'll see.
Well, Jamie was asking who. There you go, Christian McCaffrey off the board at number 8. So Jamie, there you go. That's a nice pick.
It's a tough spot. I really considered Ashton Genty. I actually have Genty ranked pretty much even with McCaffrey, even a little bit high, but I've got Genty in a lot of leagues. And I'm just trying to differentiate a little bit. And because they're so close, I wanted to get a little bit of CMC on my rosters. I really enjoy watching him play, and I want to be able to cheer him on. So spent a little bit of time thinking about that, but it was always going to be running back once those top 3 wide receivers went off, because I feel like there's a good chance I'll get a good wide receiver on the way back. I reckon we see guys like Genty and Henry go around the turn along with like Nico Collins. And I reckon I might get a receiver I like on the way back around.
I have a feeling you're going to see one of those guys go off the board right now with my pick. I'm just trying to mull which one I want. I've got a number of shares of Genty already too, probably fewer of Henry. And with Derrick Henry, that's one guy I'm not super worried about workload. He is just a physical powerhouse. I mean, to have a year like he had last year at the age he's at, and this is going to be his 10th season, and we're still talking about him in the first round. In fact, people were more scared of him last year. I was getting him in like that's in Superflex. But I was getting him more in like either the early to mid second a lot in one quarterback leagues. And you know what? I think I'm going to listen to that, and I will make my first pick Derrick Henry of the Baltimore Ravens. I thought about a wide receiver there, but I agree with Ben. Once you get past the first 3 wide receivers, I'm more than happy to take a powerhouse running back, have that solid running back. Now it gives me some flexibility of what I want to do going forward with either, it all depends on what receivers are left on what I'm going to do next.
Did you consider going Ashton Genty then with the PPR aspect?
It was a toss-up between Genty and Henry, and I kind of went with your comment. It's like I have a number of shares of Jonty already, fewer of Henry. So I figured I'd take a shot at Henry here in this spot. So the next two picks after that were Pigpen picked Nico Collins. It's funny, I see him going like number 4 or number 5 in a lot of drafts. And, I get it. He's a top guy for sure. But I probably am looking at him a little bit later, but I'm not going to say that's a wrong pick at all. We'll find out. Malik Neighbors went at number 11 next to Sherman Tank, and we just had the turn. Roxanne took Bucky Irving, and she is waiting to make her second pick.
I agree with
Irving
you. I agree with you on
Go
Nico.
ahead,
I feel like there's a little bit of upside with Nico, but they did bring in a lot of attacking weapons, and I can't take him in the first round. For me, he's behind quite a few other guys, and I feel like when you start taking him like earlier in the first round, or at least middle of the first round, you're just taking away all the upside you get from getting a bargain, getting him in the early second round, for example. So I understand why people are taking him, but I just can't do it myself.
I came that close to getting both Henry and Jonty, but that's a nice pick there by Pigpen. So Roxanne went running back at the turn, and Bucky Irving and Chase Brown. What do we think about that? Is that a little bit early for those guys, or do you like those?
For me, that's too early. For me, there's a couple of other running backs I'd rather have than those two guys. For example, I think Jonathan Taylor, even in this setting, and Josh Jacobs make a lot more sense than Irving and Brown, who aren't the greatest receiving backs. Brown's going to have P. Ryan taking a lot of the down work. Irving's going to have White involved on third down. So I think in a PPR league, they're more like my running back 10, 11, 12 sort of range.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. But still, those are solid picks. They could work out really nicely for her. But we'll see. After that, Puka Nacua went off the board, and just before he got to me, Austin Jonty went to Pigpen 9. So Sherman Tank's got 2 receivers. He's got Malik Neighbors and Puka. Pigpen's got Nico Collins and Austin Jonty. And I've got a decision to make. The question is, do I want to get a top volume receiver that I think is going to be nice, or do I want to take a guy like Devin Achane, who Matt threw up all over the other night, but I still think can be pretty good. Another guy on the board at running back here, like Ben said, guys like Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, I think would be solid picks here. But I think what I am going to do here is I am going to take a guy I like a lot coming into the year. I think this is a team with a new coach, and hopefully the quarterback can stay healthy and at least approach his ceiling. I think we saw him get close a couple of years ago. He kind of stepped back a little bit last year, but the poor guy has had kind of a mess his entire career. He got thrown into a bad situation year one with Urban Meyer being the quarterback. But I'm going to take Brian Thomas here. I just like Brian Thomas a lot.
You're breaking my heart, Chris. You're breaking my heart. I was so keen on him getting here. You're talking all these running backs. I'm like, come on. Let Thomas come down to me. Bring Thomas home. That's okay. Like, I actually feel really good about Jonathan Taylor at this pick, so I'm going to take Taylor instead. I didn't really want to go double running back, but it's kind of hard to argue with a guy who was top 5 last year, despite being injured going into the year, in an offense where I think the run game's going to improve with slightly better quarterback play, because I actually kind of like Daniel Jones. So I feel fine with Taylor there, but gosh, I would have loved Thomas in these settings.
Yeah, I love Thomas. It was kind of a toss-up between the 3 guys that just went. It was a toss-up between Thomas, Taylor, and Drake London for me. And I just decided to grab a top receiver. I 100% love what you did with McCaffrey and Taylor back to back. It's a toss up. It's kind of a call there whether I want to start filling one of those 3 wide receiver spots with the top guy or have 2 top running backs. And I decided to go with the wide receiver. And Fluff Daddy just took Devin.
My money. Sorry to cut you off there. My money had you taking London there, but I love the Thomas pick.
Yeah, I don't dislike London. I just don't know that much about how Penix is going to play. And I really want to see what Liam Cohen's offense looks like in Jacksonville. I think they're going to have to score a bunch of points. And Thomas in year 2, I mean, it's very likely for a guy to have as good a rookie year as he had to have a really good second year as well. So I'm excited about that. London, it was great to see him get towards his ceiling. I think there's upside there too. So I think we've got a solid draft going here. Kyron Williams just went off the board to Corey Corbin. And, so
little
Captain, you picked
running back heavy compared to what I've seen. 12 of the 21 picks have been running backs. Certainly not unprecedented, but just feels a little heavy running backs compared to the last few drafts I've done.
Well, yeah, and you think that in a league where there's 3 wide receiver spots, that probably would not happen as much. But it's I don't see a bad pick on the board yet, So, Captain, you still with us?
Oh yes.
How you feeling after your first 2 picks, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Josh Jacobs?
I like Jacobs. Achane, his injury history concerns me. Early in the drafts, I like to get more sturdy running backs that maybe can hold up to punishment better. And I think Jacobs is going to have a pretty big workload this year. He did last year, and I don't see much changing.
Yeah, my concern with Jacobs is that I think Jordan Love's injury that he suffered in week 1 at the end of the game in Brazil against the Eagles, I think that bothered him all season. I think they kind of tried to take some stuff off his plate because of that. But, we'll see. They finally drafted a receiver in the first round, Matthew Golden, right? So I think you're right. I think, though, Jacobs will still have a solid workload. I think both things could happen. I think they could probably be better offensively this year and have Jacobs have the same workload and probably put a little bit more on the plate of the passing game. So I like the Green Bay offense too. I think that's a good pick. I kind of agree with you about Achane that the news lately just hasn't been great. But I have a whole bunch of shares of him that I drafted in earlier drafts, so I hope we're not entirely jinxing him here. So let's see. Since I started talking after Kyron Williams, Sky took AJ Brown. Love that pick. Was wondering when Brock Bowers would go off the board. He went to Scullin, New Hampshire at pick 211, and at the turn, Frank Grimes took Marion Hampton from the Chargers, the running back there, and the 1B to Brock Bowers, Trey McBride. It's not a bad idea, even in non-tight end premium league, to grab one of the top tight ends, and I think it's a good bet that Bowers and McBride are going to be at the top. We did have our first quarterback go off the board. Lamar Jackson went at 302, and then George Kittle went at 303. So that's 3 of the top tight ends in 5 picks. Kittle's the kind of guy that's so efficient. He could, if either Bowers or McBride step back, he could be the tight end 1. And then we had T. Higgins go off the board. It's not surprising to see Sky take a 49er, though.
I have a lot of concerns around Brock Bowers. His usage in the preseason was interesting with Michael Mayer being back. Mayer missed a lot of last season, but they want to use Mayer on first and second downs. I expect Bowers will take a drop back this year. There is not really anyone outside the top 3 tight ends that can threaten him. So for me, he's the tight end 3, but I think Bowers is going a little bit too early. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if we see Bowers disappoint because Mayer is taking a lot of snaps from him.
I can't. Oh, go ahead, Derek.
I was just going to throw in a little gee whiz information on tight ends. You may have heard this, but so every year the NFL celebrates National Tight End Day. Well, National Tight End Day this year is October 26th, which happens to be week 8 of the NFL season. So, your consensus top 2 tight ends are both on bye that week on National Tight End Day. Isn't that
funny?
Something? Yeah. That was great scheduling there.
Bizarre.
That's a good thing to know, right? Especially if you feel like taking both of them. I've seen that happen in drafts. So we are moving along quite nicely. We have had, after T. Higgins, Josh Allen went, the second quarterback. Then Ladd McConkey, who's no big shock at that spot. He's one of the higher volume wide receivers. Jaden Daniels went at 307, and JSN went at 308 to Ben, who just took his first wide receiver. I am now on the board, and I'm going to need to figure out what I'm going to do here. Let's see. Ooh, yuck.
There's a bit of a teardrop off there, isn't there?
I got to tell you, I'm not real excited about any of the receivers right here. I am going to do something. I'm going to go a little bit farther down the board, and I like a lot of the receivers here. I just don't see a clear edge of one over the other. So I am going to go a bit down the board, and I'm going to go to your point that, if I'm not worried about Henry being a mostly running back, I would like to balance that with a guy that is very well used in the passing game and still is probably going to be the running back 1 on his team. Even though the offense isn't ideal, this guy kind of gets, for the last few years, for some reason, he's been being avoided. I know he's getting a little bit older, but to me, he's always solid. I don't like him much in non-PPR leagues because he doesn't always score a bunch of touchdowns. But for me, one of the best running backs on the board left is this guy, Alvin Kamara. So I'm going to take him at 309. Garrett Wilson just went off the board at 310. Wilson, it's going to be kind of interesting. What do you guys think of Wilson?
I'm concerned about the whole Jets offense with Justin Fields. It's going to be hard for Fields to support a good wide receiver, but there's also a lot of talk about Breece Hall losing a lot of snaps to Braylon Allen and to Isaiah Davis as well. So I think we might find that the only Jets player that we really want for fantasy is Justin Fields.
Yeah. I think you can get Fields at a good price in most drafts. Although some of the drafts I've seen, he's gone pretty high. But I know in a draft I was in, one quarterback, he went well into towards the double-digit rounds. So we just had Sherman Tank take Travion Henderson. Roxanne took her third running back, and which is perfectly fine. It's a solid pick, and we've got flex spots, so that is a good pick to me there at 312. And then she came back with Terry McLaurin. That's going to be interesting to see how up to speed he is, since he held in for a good part of training camp. What do you think about McLaurin?
I like McLaurin, but not as much in a PPR league. I think it's hard to see him paying off in this situation when the volume is going to be low, especially with Deebo Samuel there now. I think that's going to badly influence his volume. If this was half PPR, I think it would be a really solid pick, though.
Yeah, for me as well. Any player that really misses training camp, it just puts them a little bit more at risk for soft tissue type injuries, which will cost some time. And to take a player like that as your wide receiver number 1 in the 4th round, there's some risk there. I mean, he's obviously a special talent, and he could pay off in a big way, but there is some risk there too. So kudos for her for taking on that risk. For me, I'm probably not. I'm passing on that, but with the understanding that I could certainly see that he could make that return.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Jaden Daniels progresses in his second year. Is he still going to be run happy as he was in year 1, or is he going to stay more in the pocket in year 2? It's pretty much the same staff, right? So I think McLaurin's still a good red zone target. I think he's got some built-in floor just at that. So after McLaurin went, we had Ted McMillan, highly touted rookie down in Carolina. Interesting pick. I like McMillan. I've taken him in a bunch of drafts, maybe a little bit later, but still, he's a physical specimen down there. And then we had our 4th quarterback, Jalen Hurts, come off the board. And I'm going to have to make my pick here because I'm down in the last 30 seconds. And I'm going to grab a guy I have not been grabbing in drafts this year so far. I'm going to probably roll the dice a little bit here, and I'm going to get a share of Marv down in Arizona. I don't think I have any other shares of Marvin Harrison. Just for some reason, I've gone in another direction when he's been there. And a lot of times he hasn't been. He's been drafted pretty highly. So I'm going to take a flyer here on Marvin Harrison and see how that works out for me in this league.
I like that.
So Ben's on the clock. Go ahead, Ben.
I like the upside of that pick. I'm going to go a little bit, I'm not going to say safer, I'm going to go a little bit older. Apparently, I'm just going for a whole heap of players that used to be good and hoping they can kind of hang around for a little bit, because I'm going to go for Tyreek Hill. I feel like he's still got that wide receiver 1 upside. I don't think he's necessarily going to be a top 10 guy this year, but I think there's an opportunity here for him to still be very good. We saw he was really hampered by injury last season, but for me, if he's healthy, I think he has the potential to really pay off as a 4th round pick. There's a whole heap of guys with upside going before him, and I just think he's got a different type of upside where we just need to see him stay healthy and get used properly. And in that case, he's really going to pay off nicely.
Yeah, as the wide receiver 18 on this board, that's a pretty good pick. Even if you're a little bit down on him, a little, like you said, in 4th round, wide receiver 18, some of that risk kind of falls off. So that's a good risk reward pick in my mind right there.
Yeah, it was a little bit tough to
I like
give
that
up
pick
on,
too.
it was a bit tough to give up on Joe Burrow there. Like, Burrow's real tempting given that 4 quarterbacks have gone off the board, but I've got a lot of Burrow. So I thought I'd go a later QB strategy for a change here.
Yeah, I like the Hill pick. And he definitely wasn't going to get back to you. And it's like you say, that's probably a guy that if he's okay and, if their offense is a little bit better, Tua stays healthy, or that's a guy that can pay off big time with a lot of volume. So, I mean, it's not too long ago that we were talking about him maybe being a 2,000-yard receiver. So I like that pick too. Let's see. After Tyreek went Kenneth Walker to Toe 7685. Captain took Chuba Hubbard. I love Chuba. I've taken him in a bunch of drafts. And another solid older guard receiver, Mike Evans. It's like, I think we kind of settle into a place where we're going to expect, 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns out of this guy until we don't get it. Right?
He's alarmingly consistent. It's kind of scary. I think that's a great value pick. If I didn't take Hill, then Evans was the next wide receiver on my board. It's only because it's PPR that I took Hill over Evans. Hill just gets a little bit more volume because there's really not that many pass catching options, especially with Janu Smith out of town now. They're going to have to use a heap of Hill, Waddle, and Achane. Whereas in Tampa, you're suddenly adding a Booker in there, and all of a sudden the volume might go down even further. So I think that Evans has more chance of falling out of favor than someone like a Hill, who's still, for me, the clear wide receiver one.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, he kind of scrambled to get to the 1,000 yards last year. He missed a couple of games, and they actually leaned a little bit on Cade Otton in the middle of the season. So it'll be interesting to see. They've got a new offensive coordinator there, but it's a guy they promoted in-house. So it would be nice to see. It would be nice to see the continuation there, given I have a few shares of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, with Godwin out for extended period of time, and McMillan as well, and now Otten is popping up on the injured list, and he may miss a week or two. It'll be interesting to see if Evans just explodes out of the gates, and if he does, then we might have another 1,000-yard season from him. But if he kind of sputters, which means Tampa will probably sputter as well, or if they lean heavy on the running game, with those other playmakers out, then I think Ben, I think you're going to be right that we're going to see the end of that run with Evans. He's a very quiet player in fantasy drafts this year. You don't really hear a lot of talking about him. Maybe it is just because of the consistency, but there's a lot of talk about his teammates, but it's been, at least in what I've seen and participated, he's just very quiet, under the radar, going in the 4th round pretty consistently. And we're gonna have to wait and see how he comes out of the box, frankly, in these first few weeks, when he's clearly the top option.
Yep. So after Evans went DK Metcalf, who, that's going to be interesting to see him paired up with Aaron Rodgers. There's a lot of talk about how poorly Aaron Rodgers looked last year, but down the stretch, he actually was decent. Hopefully being in camp and getting a chance to work with the team will give him a chance to mesh with Metcalf. I think probably what's going to wind up happening is you're going to see a lot of 12 personnel on that team. I mean, the wide receiver 2 is right now coming down to look like a little bit of a battle between Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson. I like Austin, but I don't like him enough to think he's going to be a major contributor to an offense. I think they're going to run a lot of 2 tight end sets with Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth, and you've got Jaylen Warren that can come out of the backfield and catch the ball too. Sky took Devontae Adams at 410. I was wondering when he was going to go. I actually considered him in my spot. After that we've got Cortland Sutton, another interesting guy who last year was kind of an afterthought and turned in a bang season. He was at probably his best season of his career with Bo Nix under center. So he's gone off the board a lot earlier this year.
Yeah, I really like Cortland Sutton. I really like Cortland Sutton this year. I feel like there's a heap of upside there, and Nick's taking a second year jump. And at one stage, I had him ranked as my wide receiver 17 before I cooled off a little bit. I think I was being a bit aggressive, but I really love the upside there, and I also love the Adams pick. Adams is still a top 15 wide receiver for me. I feel like we get really excited and aggressive on these new flashy names like Ted McMillan and people like that. But realistically, people like Evans and Adams and Hill have been doing it for years, and I'd rather the reliability of what they can offer rather than someone who may well turn into a wide receiver too.
Yeah, I agree. There are plenty of young wide receivers later in the draft who, if you want to take a shot at one, there's plenty out there to do that with upside. But early in the draft, I as well like to get some of these higher floor, wide receivers who've done it before. We have expectations that we're pretty solid. We know what we're going to get, or what we should get, and then start taking some chances a little bit later.
Yeah. So start catching up on some of the comments, since most of our league is not in studio, but they are on the chat and on the YouTube video. Jamie says the Kyren Williams pick was too early. I don't know. I like Kyren Williams. I think he's as high as he goes. I think he's a little underrated. You hear the last couple of years you've been hearing, oh, they're going to curb his workload. Oh, he's, this is going to happen. That's going to happen. He's just solid. I had him last year in Scott Fishbowl. I had Henry and Kyren Williams, and they were solid for me all year. I like Kyren Williams. So I don't necessarily agree. I don't know who I would have taken before that. Well, maybe a receiver, maybe Bowers. What do you guys think?
I agree on Kyren. I think he's just kind of locked into volume with the way Sean McVay uses his running backs. There has been a little bit of talk about using a little bit more Blake Corum, but Blake Corum played in the preseason, which is really unusual for Sean McVay to use anyone that's even going to make the roster in the preseason. So I'm not really sure what to make of the combination of those two pieces of information. McVay saying one thing, but then doing another thing. Regardless, you got to feel pretty good about Williams. The PPR aspect is the bit that worries me. But once you're getting towards the end of the second round, I think there's plenty of upside there. I think AJ Brown would have been the only other reasonable pick at that spot, because there is a really big drop-off at running back after Williams.
Then we've got Fluff Daddy. Kyren's inefficiency and the Rams in general worry me, but that's my opinion. I don't necessarily disagree there. I mean, I feel better now that Stafford's back. And I said this on a show with Jeff a couple of weeks ago. If there's a player, a quarterback that's ever been tough, it's Matthew Stafford. I mean, he's just you think he's going to miss a game, and he just doesn't. I mean, he shakes off pretty much any injury. So I think I like the Rams with Stafford and some of the new weapons. I completely agree with Ben on Devontae Adams. I think Adams is probably going to be in line for a big year. I think the stabilization of the Rams organization will help his, I guess, peace of mind, for want of a better word. He seemed to be a little bit out of sorts in Las Vegas, and I don't think the New York Jets situation helped them there at all. So I like the Rams this year. I think they're going to score a ton of points. Steven says he couldn't be Oh, go ahead, Ben.
I was going to say, I'm really interested to see that it looks like Joe Burrow might make it back to me here, unless Toe does something crazy and goes double quarterback. Joe Burrow was in this scoring setting where you've got 6-point passing touchdowns. Joe Burrow was the quarterback 2 last year. He scored 50 more points than Jaden Daniels. He scored 80 more points than Jalen Hurts. And yet he's going 2 rounds after Daniels and a round after Hurts. And we're talking about Daniels maybe losing rushing volume. I admit that usually comes with more passing volume, but is he going to throw that many more touchdowns to make up for it when their run game's still pretty strong? I'm intrigued by the fact that Burrow's fallen this far. I understand that they had to pass a lot last year because the defense just generally struggled, but it's not improved that much. So I can imagine him needing to do it again. This is my favorite pick so far, is getting Burrow this late, because I nearly took him a round earlier.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick there too. I agree. I don't see much. Somebody said, I was reading today, somebody said that Jamar Chase may not even have may not have even hit his statistical ceiling, and that's a scary thought, right? You know, I mean, they've got just a solid offense, and they're going to have to score a bunch of points to stay in games. So, yeah, I agree with you. I agree with the statement that Burrow's a steal in that spot.
Yeah, I totally agree as well. I have a few shares of Burrow from other drafts, and it's always to get him. I've always had to take him in the 4th round. You know, if I got lucky to get him in the 5th round, I'd be ecstatic as well.
Oh, Jamie's out here talking poo, man. I like Ben's draft until the Tyreek pick. Okay, well, Ben gave his take on why he took Tyreek. I don't disagree with that. You know, I got to tell you, this whole thing is a crapshoot. So, you know, Tyreek is a potential volume pick. Maybe he really is on the way down, but you know, Jamie says he thinks Waddle will outscore Hill. We'll see. So I am on the clock again, and I am.
Yeah, sorry, you got.
Yeah, right. So I am really in an interesting spot here because I really like running backs better than wide receivers at this spot, even though there are some wide receivers I really do still like. And I'm trying to decide. I'm almost set taking a wide receiver here, and it's pretty much between 2 guys. There's a couple of guys a little bit further down that I like as well. But I don't have many shares of this guy yet this year. So this is a draft where I'm taking receivers I really don't have a lot of shares of elsewhere. And I am going to go with a guy that I think is coming up in the world. I'm going to take Jameson Williams of the Lions at that spot. I'm not surprised to see DJ Moore and Pickens go with the next 2 picks. Those were guys that were in my viewfinder as well. So we're up to Roxanne. Let's go over some of the earlier picks. We had another little running back run after, Emeka Egbuka went in the early 5th round. Don't hate the pick. Think maybe, let me put it this way. He probably wouldn't have made it back around. So that's one of those picks where you're at 502. You think, I want Egbuka, and he's not going to get to me at 6'11". So after that, we had 4 straight running backs: R.J. Harvey, James Conner, David Montgomery, and Tony Pollard. I don't dislike any of those picks. The people that picked them, Captain has 3 running backs and 5 picks. We've got everybody else that picked running backs there had picked their second. They already had either 3 receivers or a mix of a tight end or quarterback. So we just had Travis Hunter is a little bit of a polarizing presence in fantasy football. I hear camps think that, well, he's the wide receiver 2 in Jacksonville, and maybe he doesn't have that much volume. I don't hate that. I love that pick at that spot. What do you guys think?
I have Travis Hunter about 10 to 12 ranking points ahead of Emeka Egbuka. Hunter goes into an offense where there is passing volume to be had. Egbuka goes into a situation where Chris Godwin is going to return. Chris Godwin was second in points per game last season, and we seem to be forgetting his existence. He's going to be back within 4 or 5 weeks, and all of a sudden Egbuka is going to be someone who it's going to be hard for him to pay off as a 5th round pick. I think it's going to be hard for him to pay off as a 7th round pick. If you're going to take him, you've got to get upside, and I just don't love Egbuka this early. It really scares me a lot.
Fair point. And like I say, I can see the Egbuka pick. If you really want him, you're not going to get him at the end of the 6th round, most likely. But no, your point is pretty valid. There is a chance that Godwin comes back and is feeling healthy. They seem to be taking it easy with him. They seem to feel they can not rush him back. So, that's a good sign. Let's see. After Hunter, Roxanne took her 3rd receiver, Devontae Smith. Then Waddle went right after that. That's 5 wide receivers and 6 picks for Sherman Tank. Pigpen took his 2nd running back, DeAndre Swift, probably one of the last volume running backs. And I think he's in an interesting spot in Chicago with Ben Johnson. I think he's pretty clearly the running back 1 there, and I'm going to be interested to see what they do with him there. There's a lot of things that he doesn't do well, but I think if you play to his strengths, I think he's going to be a very solid asset for the Bears and for fantasy owners. And we did have Sky Guasco join us in the room. How are you doing, Sky?
What's up, everybody? Can you hear me okay?
Yep, sound good.
Great.
We can hear you.
Good evening. Yes, Ben, nice to see you, my man.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
Yes, sir. Good morning. I'm very happy to be here. And what I miss, only 5.5 rounds, not bad. 6 rounds, excuse me. Not too bad. Good evening, everybody. Happy to be here and been on the move. Pro tip: this is not in my rankings or on the website, but I will let everybody know it's a horrendous decision to move during fantasy football draft season. Not recommended. -1 out of 10 stars, and such is life. But I appreciate you guys rolling without me. Feeling good about my team so far. Went Kittle, had to get a homer pick early. Haven't done that in any drafts this summer. And reached for Harvey maybe a little bit there. I was going to go Ibuka just because it's nice to get him quick these days, but had to go with another running back before it dries up. Was going to go Joe Burrow, and happy to see that Ben went with him instead. So I got Harvey there. Feeling pretty good about the balance of my squad so far.
You didn't consider James Conner there, but pretty consistent top 15 back the last few years.
Very consistent. Absolutely did consider him. I think I'm just more in I like the spark plugs. I love James Conner. He's great. I really think Harvey is going to take off. And to be honest with you, Ben, at this point, I'm kind of like in this draft, A.J. Brown, Adams, Kittle, and Harvey are guys I love and I don't have any shares of. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to mix it up a little bit and going to go with it. So I have a major Cardinals stack with everybody in Razzball. So I'll take Connor over there. And so I thought I'd mix it up with Harvey. I really think Harvey could blossom into Jahmyr Gibbs this year, potentially, assuming that J.K. Dobbins doesn't pan out long term. So with that possibility, I just wanted to take that spark.
Yeah, Ben, you're getting a lot of love.
We are just flying.
Other than your Hill pick, Jamie really likes what you're doing. So
Jamie and I are always simpatico. Every time Jamie and I just we're one mind.
Yeah, Ridley's my dog too. Ben, I mean, I've got, of course, Christian McCaffrey wherever I can, but that's early. I have Tyreek Hill. I believe in him this year, outside of Derek's nonsense. A couple Joe Burrows and a few Calvin Ridleys as well. So solid squad.
Love it.
Ricky P going right before me. I like to see that. Try to put me on tilt. Nice try.
That may be Jeff in disguise.
That's fine. The question is
Trying
here,
not to get fired.
right? The question is here: Do I go with my gut and a Matt Styles bold prediction, or do I go a little bit against the grain here in the first 6 picks? I think I'm going to. Let's see what Don does, and then I'll talk to it a little bit more.
I should mention, by the way, I'm going to have to get going, but appreciate chatting, everyone. It's been good. Jamie, nice to see you again. It's been a while.
Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us, Ben. It was good seeing you.
I'm going to try to draft from the road, so we'll see how that goes.
Cool. Later.
Take care, Ben.
Don't wind up in a ditch, my friend.
So we haven't heard from Captain in a while. He's picked.
Yeah, I was going to say, Captain, how you feeling about your draft so far?
I feel good. Pollard was a pick that I wanted. I wanted a running back that caught passes. Hubbard and Jacobs don't necessarily do a lot of that. And Pollard was one of the last starters, I think, left. So I thought it was time to pull the trigger on him. And then Mahomes in the 6th round. I just think people are sleeping on him. I think he's going to have a phenomenal year.
Now with Tajay Spears out for the first 4 weeks, does that even? I mean, does that push Pollard up your draft board a little bit, or it make you even more excited to get him there?
Yeah, it made him more likable to me, but I think the main factor was just so many running backs had already gone off the board. The starters were getting pretty slim, and I wanted to make sure I got a pass catching back.
Very nice.
All right, Derek.
I think his workload.
This one's for you,
I
buddy.
think his workload will be pretty good too.
Oh yeah, my favorite, one of my favorite running back picks in this range.
Mine too, and I haven't been able to get him. Either you've scooped him before me in all these drafts, or I just haven't been able to scoop him. So
yeah,
I like it. I really like that Golden pick too. Might be a little early. I mean, he's exploding now that the Packers are hot in the news right now, but I really like that pick.
Dave
a lot
and
of hot rookies.
Dave and I were talking before the show, asking about some of the players you have the most, across the teams. And yeah, Charbonnet is one of my most rostered running backs. I'm really high on him this year.
Yeah.
Even if they both stay healthy, he'll still be a fair running back 2 or flex, frankly, option for us.
I agree. And I have Jahmyr Gibbs in Razzball. Other than that, Brown, Kittle, Adams, Harvey, and Charbonnet, I don't have any shares of in my other drafts yet. So I'm actually really stoked on kind of just like a really, really fresh squad that I've been excited about. I just haven't been able to draft these guys for one reason or another, or, chosen other options around them. But I'm really liking how this one's fallen to me tonight.
Well, I got to tell you, it's another F them bye weeks draft for me. I doubled down on what I did the other night. All my receivers are off on week 8.
I like it.
Awesome. Well,
and now you got Bill kicking off the 7th round. I mean, he's obviously blown up, and with the help of Styles has really been taken off. And I feel like Nix is my dog anyway. I don't have any shares of him. I really think he's going to be great. I wanted Cortland Sutton. Where was that? Let's see. It was
Cortland
Adams
Sutton
or Cortland's.
went right after you picked Adams.
Yeah,
right.
411. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like my calculation in the moment was correct. It just didn't work out. Where I just thought Sutton would come back around with those 4 picks on the turn. Obviously, he didn't, so I went with Adams instead and thought I'd get Sutton on the return. And then I wanted Sutton and Nick's stack. I think that's going to blow up this year, and it's really an underrated, cheap, high-level stack in my opinion. This season, they ended the year on fire, and I just think both guys are going to have massive seasons this year. I don't
We've
generally
got
take
Fluff
tight
Daddy on
end.
the,
Good.
we've got Fluff Daddy on the clock, and the captain is the next pick. What would make you tilt here, Captain?
What would make me tilt?
Yeah. Could Fluff Daddy snipe you very badly here, or do you have several choices you're looking at?
I have several. I could go tight end. I could go wide receiver. So I'm sure I'm going to find a good pick in either one of those two areas. He did take Rice.
Interesting. Yep, Rashee Rice just went, and that's somebody that's feeling pretty secure about their draft, considering Rice is going to be out the first 6 weeks. Thought maybe he might fall a little bit. Thought he might be falling a little bit farther. I don't know that you would have wanted him with your third as one of your starting receivers, but it would have been a nice stack with Mahomes once he came back in week 7.
Yeah, I wasn't going to take him this round. If he would have fallen to me in the next round, I would have seriously thought about it.
Sherman Tank says he wanted Rice. Sherman, where would you have taken him?
Wow.
He's in the chat room for the draft, so I found his comment there. Wide receiver 4 is fine. Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, and his value, I mean, obviously he's going to miss the first 6 weeks, but it'll take him a little time after that. So after their week 10 bye, that's when you're really going to see the value of this pick is week 4 or the wide receiver 4 here. Assuming health as well. Right into the fantasy playoffs. This is when Rashee Rice should be returning that value of being a 7th round pick here. Obviously, you're not going to have it early, but if you make it to the playoffs, this could be a real steal.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you've got a solid squad, you've got confidence in your squad. That's a guy that can then be a difference maker in the last half of the season.
Yeah, and it makes sense on this lineup. I'm as the observer on this, I'm looking through the lineups and kind of picking my favorites, and I really like what Fluff's doing here. He's got 3 solid wide receivers, a couple solid running backs, and of course Josh Allen. You got to love that. So, that Rashee Rice pick it makes a lot of sense in this makeup. So, I definitely like what Fluff's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I like his build considering he went so high at quarterback. That's a solid supporting cast for Josh Allen on a fantasy team.
Yeah, the only question mark I see so far in this roster is, what are we going to get from Montgomery? Is he going to be I say 50-50, but are we going to see anywhere close to that, with Gibbs this year, or is he really going to fall off and be more of a complementary role, which a lot of people think. So, and we know with all these running backs off the board, running back depth is is getting pretty thin. So, we'll have to see what he does with the running backs, and hasn't picked a tight end yet. But overall, from 1 to 7, I like what he's doing.
I don't know if Ben's still hearing us or not, but I can tell you he just got his revenge on me for the what was it, the Marvin Harrison? Oh no, the Brian Thomas pick. I definitely had Olave queued up for my next pick, and now I'm in a little bit of a quandary. Now I got to decide what other position I want, because I really don't want to go with one of the wide receivers I was looking at. Let's see. None of these guys. I could pick another week 8 guy and just totally tank that week for myself, but
that's kind of your style, Dave.
It is. I got that down to a science right now.
At those bye weeks, right, Dave?
At least I didn't do it at running back this time, though. But I did do it 3 for 3 with receivers. I am going to take a tight end here. I think I took this guy in one of the other Razzball PPR drafts, or maybe the guillotine. I'm going to take my tight end. I'm going to take Travis Kelce right here. Yeah, Olave, I love Olave, and some of the other receivers I was looking at, I think I can get one of them coming back. So we'll find out. I just tipped a little bit of my hand there. Well, the first person passed, went with Caleb Johnson, then Jordan Addison, another suspended all-star. We've got Roxanne here at the turn.
Yeah, and kind of getting back to my remarks with Fluff, Sherman's got 6 wide receivers with, Addison in the suspension being his 6th. So he's obviously counting on the wide receivers carrying the squad this year. We'll see what he does at the other skill positions. But
Travion Henderson.
Yeah, so
Travion Henderson.
He set up pretty good.
Running back.
Set up pretty good to have strong 3 wide receivers and probably there's 2 flexes as well. It's probably how it'll play out, and which could be really solid. He could have some really high scoring weeks, and he could have some lackluster weeks as well. So this might be a boomer bust squad in the making.
That's definitely a Styles approved roster right there.
There it is.
So Roxanne just took her tight end, Evan Ingram. I like that pick. And she went with Baker Mayfield as her quarterback. Sherman took his running back too, Jalen Warren. Don't dislike that one. I think I don't know about Caleb Johnson. I think maybe I like Warren a little bit better than him, but time will tell.
Man, I got to say, Roxanne's got a really pretty draft. Just 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers, tight end, quarterback. Well done. Looks nice.
I think it's a solid squad.
Me too. Yeah, and I like how it fell that way. And I generally don't. I was going to mention earlier when we were talking Kittle and Nix, I generally don't go tight end early. Let's say one of the first 3 or 4 guys. I have McBride a round or 2, but best ball is different. And if it's tight end premium, that throws all that out the window. But the top 3 are the top 3 by a long shot, in my opinion. I think Kittle actually could end up being the number 1 this year with everything going on in San Francisco, or lack thereof, to be honest with you. So I think Kittle could actually be number 1. He's going 3rd. I like that. And then Nix in the middle round is good, but it was kind of one of those, like, I don't want to start the tight end and the quarterback trend. But in, what was it, our PPR draft 1 that we had earlier this week, Monday night, Tuesday night, I got David Njoku, which I like, but I waited much longer than I anticipated on tight end. And I thought guys would keep falling, and they didn't, so I'd wait on another one, and then he got picked, and I wait on another. He got picked, so I was like, oh, boy. And eventually I ended up with, like, Hunter Henry or something like that at the very end, and that's fine, but that's just not what I would want as my bolster. So I wanted to kind of get ahead of that tonight, and I feel better about the draft overall, having those two positions secured.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I was pretty happy grabbing Knicks at I think the end of the 9th or 10th round in the first PPR draft we did on was it Monday? Yeah. So I am back on the clock, and I am looking at 2 wide receivers. Both of them are coming back from pretty significant injuries last year. And it's kind of a toss-up for me, which I think is going to get the most volume. It's probably, for me, I think I'm going to take a flyer on the younger guy, even though I think the quarterback situation there isn't real good. But I think probably one of the last high-volume target receivers left is Michael Pittman. So I at least have one wide receiver for week 8. So I'm doing better. We have trades in this week.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
reach out to Sherman Tank. Reach out to Sherman Tank. He's got some wide receivers available to you.
Anybody looking for a week 8 receiver, give me a call. So David Njoku, we were just talking about. Like I said, if Ben's on the road drafting and listening to us, hey, mazel tov, my friend. That was a pretty solid pick in the middle of the 8th round. Right before I picked went J.K. Dobbins, and a wide receiver in this spot. I mean, a running back in this spot I like quite a bit. I think at least early on in the year, the Broncos are probably going to lean on him quite a bit until R.J. Harvey hits his stride. So, plenty of picks for the mushroom cloud to explode.
Yeah, you're welcome, Fluff. You're doing a good job. Like I said, like what you're doing. So we'll see how you do in the back end of the draft. Starts now or in a couple picks. But so far, you're looking good, in my opinion.
I think we've got a pretty good. I think we got a pretty good pace going here. We're well over halfway done, and it's just a little bit over an hour into the draft.
Yep, I know what I would do if I was drafted in Fluff. I know what I would do here next. There's a guy I'm looking at that I think would fit really nicely on his squad, but we'll see what he does here in a couple of minutes.
Man, you'd go Troy Franklin this early, Derek?
I love me some Troy Franklin.
He just would love to break up your stack, Sky.
No way, dude. They're brothers. I gotta have it.
The Ducks Broncos stack.
That's right.
All right, a little preview.
We have a musical interlude, courtesy of Derek.
Do it.
Oh, Toe ran out of time. He got the next guy on the board, Deebo Samuel.
Deebo on the auto. I like it.
Ooh, nice by Captain. Tyler Warren, I love that pick.
Yep, I do too. If everything I'm reading is true, he might be the Swiss Army knife type of tight end.
He's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and that's actually that's the name that I was thinking for Fluff. So
for Fluff Daddy, yeah. I like the captain squad quite a bit as well. He's got the Sun God first, Jacob second, Ladd third. Chuba and Pollard, 4th and 5th. Went with Mahomes in the middle of the 6th, and then he picked. Somebody said, "Damn."
Yeah, well,
He
that was
went
fluff.
went
Fluff,
with Khalil Shakur in the 7th and Tyler Warren in the 8th. I think that's a solid squad as well.
So I'm thinking
Shakur's
fluff.
going to be interesting to see how the volume shakes out in the passing game in Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm thinking Fluff and I were on the same wavelength here with his 8th pick.
Yeah, he wanted Warren, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, it was your porno music that gave him the inkling.
At least he toned down, because I'm sure this isn't the words that he was spewing, to himself. So, at least by the time the words got to his fingers.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a Dave Cruz football dem draft pick special.
That's right. But yeah,
If it makes him feel any better, I wanted Josh Allen. He sniped me on that.
All right. Yeah. Well, there you go.
It's only fair. What comes around goes around. It was
That's
a
right.
verbal F.
Yeah, Tyler Warren. If anyone's besides Dave and Sky who've heard us talk about tight ends on our shows and our drafts, he's one that I think if any of the rookie tight ends are going to come in and keep the run of being fantasy number 1 tight ends after Bowers last year and then Laporta the year before, I think it's going to be Warren, and I'm even higher on that now that Daniel Jones is at least starting at quarterback. Hopefully he'll have some success. But
Who?
Daniel Jones. So
Danny Pesos.
So I'm really high on Warren. In fact, I've only got him in 1 league, unfortunately. Even though I'm as high on him as I've been, I've only been able to snag him in 1 league. But I'll take it.
I took a swing at him in my first redraft in Sacramento at Scott Fishbowl. I picked him, I think, in the middle of the 9th or 10th round. I think he was tight end 11 off the board then. Oh, so we have Stephon Diggs was the other guy I was thinking of at my spot where I grabbed Pittman. I feel Pittman's in a better spot than Diggs is a little bit at this point. The next pick was Jacoby Myers. Wonder what's going on with Myers and the Raiders. The talk has kind of died down there. There's been no trade made.
It was a fake news. I think it's a classic. One of these guys' buddies gets paid, and then they think that they deserve to get paid. And Jacoby's fine, but he doesn't deserve to get paid. And the Raiders suck, and so he wanted to get out of town, which makes sense. But they can't move him because they have nobody else, and they're not going to pay him either. So I think it was just like, hey, bro, why don't you be a starter and get a lot of work here, and stay in your lane. And he was like, yeah, good idea. And they shut it down pretty quickly. That's the problem with my boy Juwan Jennings. Is like, I love the guy and he's awesome, but he has not he doesn't deserve yet what he wants. He wants like $20 million a year. And the Niners are like, dude, like, stay healthy and produce regularly, and we'll talk next year. And like,
and look at your situation a little bit before you do the Debo pay me or trade me noise.
Yeah,
I agree that neither Jacoby Myers nor Juwan Jennings is that player.
Yeah, they're not. But I think that's what happened. I mean, he's got to shoot a shot, though. Why not? You're not going to get a promotion or a raise if you don't ask for one. But then they're like, honestly, I respect Jacoby Myers. We're like, hey, man, like, no. He's like, okay. I had to ask. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
I'll go back to work. He didn't throw a fit. He's not a media guy. I like him a lot, dude. He's just a really, really solid 15 PPR points a week. No real ceiling, but excellent floor, especially in the 9th round as your wide receiver. What's 5? I mean, it's a nice pick.
Yeah, and I expect the Raiders to be more of a running team this year, but I still like the situation in the passing game much more than I did last year. I mean, Geno Smith is underrated to me. He doesn't put up huge numbers, but he's really an accurate passer, and I think the efficiency of all their receivers is going to go up this year. And also, I think he's got the arm strength to hit guys like Tucker and Thornton, right? So, I think the Raiders have a chance to be a decent team. So Sky took Chris Godwin with his 8th pick, one of the guys we were talking about earlier. Another guy that could come back, around weeks 4 through 6 and be a really solid contributor if you've got the bandwidth to wait for him to come back. I like that pick. And then Tyrone Tracy is probably one of the last volume running backs on the board. I am not of the mind that Scatterbo is going to come in and have a huge role. I think he'll have a role. I just think Tracy's going to have a bigger role. And then we've got it's the interesting situation in Jacksonville with the running backs there, where they could all be somewhat relevant. You've got Bigsby as the banger, the between the 20s guy. You got ETN potentially as the passing down guy. And, they're probably going to find ways to mix Tootin in there as well, So I don't hate ETN at that spot. Rashid Shaheed is a guy that if he's healthy, he's a guy that just stretches the field unbelievably. Then we had Mark Andrews go off the board, and Sky took another 49er. He loves his 49ers. We got Juwan Jennings off the board at, 9:03?
Yeah, it's just it's a long game. I mean, I'm going to have to, dive in the recycle bin here and probably around 11 or 12 to get a warm body for week 1 or 2. But I think, Jennings is starting to come back pretty nice. Godwin's going to be fine when he gets back, I think. And as long as I got 3 wide receivers, I feel great about my running backs in Kittle and Nix. So as long as I can just fill that wide receiver 3 position and then get some depth come week 4, 5 plus heading into the middle of the season, I'm feeling really good about Godwin and Jennings coming off the IR to alleviate my squad for bye weeks and stuff. So I don't usually do this, but again, this is a totally rogue squad that I've kind of wanted to put together, and this is my opportunity, so I'm doing it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption. I don't think Jennings' broken wallet will keep him out of week 1 necessarily. So, I think he's a good seat warmer until Godwin gets back. Javonte Williams went. I think that is Corey's. Yeah, that's Corey's 3rd running back. I don't dislike that. I like Javonte probably as the main guy there. He's certainly versatile enough to do everything they want to do, whatever they want to do in the running game. I still think that's going to be a super high volume passing offense. But Javonte is not helpless in the passing game either. So then we had the second rookie tight end, Darling Loveland. I completely agree with what you guys were saying about Warren versus Loveland. I think Warren's got a clearer path to fantasy relevance as a rookie than Loveland does. It'll be interesting to see how Ben Johnson incorporates him now that they've moved him to the top of the tight end chart. I think they'll probably use. I think they'll still use a bunch of 12 formations in that offense, but I think Cole Kmet makes a lot more sense in line. Then we had Jared Goff go off the board. That was captain's second quarterback, and followed by Josh Downs. It's funny, he's been sliding down boards I've seen. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, he still has his injury that he's dealing with. With the latest news indicates he's not far, from being back to healthy. So with Pittman and Downs, it's this is actually, I think, the first draft in a while that I've seen where they've been the other way around. Downs has been going a little bit earlier than Pittman from what I've seen.
Yep.
And so to see that Downs is going a whole round later, to me, indicates that I like the value a little bit on Downs. We could step back one, though, talk to the captain again real quick. So you've got Jared Goff, which I really like that pick, like making that pick. But you've got a stack with him with St. Brown in the first. Does that?
Yep.
Does that make you regret a little bit taking Mahomes back in the sixth round? Now that, because you got a decision to make. This is a one quarterback league. Do you play the stack with St. Brown, or is that more situational? You want to take advantage of that, and you'll go with Mahomes the other times, or do you regret a little bit taking Mahomes back in the sixth now that you've got Goff in the ninth?
No, my plan is to play Mahomes every week, unless he's injured or on bye. But if Goff comes out lighting it up. If he's not only throwing touchdowns to St. Brown, but Williams and Gibbs and whoever else, I could always put him in the starting lineup if I want to. But it was really two reasons I think I selected him. One, I had the stack with St. Brown, and two, even if he's not throwing to St. Brown, he usually puts up pretty good yardage. So really the only question is how many touchdowns is he going to throw? And with Jameson Williams emerging there, he could be throwing a lot of long bombs this year,
Yeah, I could see in week 2 is you're going to have your first decision, and the Lions are at home versus the Bears, and then the Chiefs are at home versus the Eagles. And that's going to be one of those. Goff at home is always a really nice play. And against the Bears, the Bears are certainly building up their team, but and it'll be Ben Johnson revenge game there. Ben Johnson coming home as a head coach of the Bears. Wow. So,
good point. But it's a nice problem to have.
Yeah. Well, you're right about that. It is a nice problem to have. I agree with you.
Okay, so after Goff went off the board and Josh Downs went off the board, Nick Chubb was picked. Like that pick, he could definitely return quite a bit of value early and maybe even longer term if things roll the right way. It sounds like Joe Mixon. They won't commit to him coming back at all now this year, but I don't know what that means. They're not going to play. They're not going to show their hand. If he's out, he's out. I don't see him off the board yet here, and I don't think we may. I probably won't pick him. I took Kyler Murray as my quarterback. I'm kind of warming to the idea of Kyler as a quarterback, and having Marvin Harrison gave me the opportunity to have that stack. Now, needless to say, the last time I stacked Kyler was about 4 years ago, and not only did Kyler make me pay for it, but DeAndre Hopkins did too. So hopefully this will work out better. But I took Kyler as my quarterback. Cooper Kupp went, then Tucker Kraft, Keon Coleman, and Marvin Mims by Roxanne. I love both those picks. Scatterbo went to Sherman. And then Dalton Kincaid came off the board, and that is Pigpen's tight end. I am back on the board, and I really have no idea what I want to do here. I'm looking at running backs. Don't really care much for the backs. Don't really care much for the receivers, but I think I care for the receivers a little bit more, and I'm going to take a flyer on one of the Razzball NFL favorites in the room. I think I'm going to take Joshua Palmer and see if he cannot get closer to his ceiling this year. It's probably going to be a case of where I will need him week 8, but I think he could provide some solid weeks. So that's my 5th wide receiver and possibly my 2nd wide receiver for week 8. Cedric Tillman went next. That's a pick I like. It's also another Razzball NFL favorite.
Yep.
So we are back to Kyle.
So, Fluff, you're coming up on your pick. I won't bother you now, but once you're done with that, we're going to need a little more explanation on this one here. A little baseball respite here in the middle of the draft. So I'll be looking for some explanation there. I'm still in that one as well. Not anywhere to win, but
Fluff, I think, is number 2. That's Sean Nurek.
Well, that's good to know. Then,
wasn't he number 2 on that graphic you threw in the chat room?
He
it
is
was
right.
Bob at 1, and Bob 1, and I think Sean was 2.
All right. Well, Fluff Daddy has been named. Yes, he is still currently 2nd in the championship tier in Raz Slam. A mere 6 points, at least what I'm looking at now, a mere 6 points behind Bob for the number 1 spot.
Right there. Awesome.
Nice.
Congratulations, Sean.
Good to see both of our Raz Slam top competitors are also in our football drafts. Bob drafted with us the other night. Of course,
they're in Razzball. They're Razzball NFL favorites. Thanks so much, Sean. It's really cool that you're here with us tonight. So, go get them. It's kind of hard to root against Bob, and I'm not rooting openly for or against either guy, but it's really good to see both of you guys up at the top of the Raz Slam. I knew once I lost like my 10th pitcher for the season, I was pretty much done.
Yeah, I'm still alive in that, but I'm just barely a heartbeat at this point.
All right, let's see.
Well, made it farther than I did. That's for you. Okay, so we have Don Colbin in the room, and let's see, Ramondre Stevenson went to Sean. I like Ramondre that's his running back 3. I think that's a possible good bye week fill-in. He won't be out until week 14, so he can take quite a few spots between now and then. Although it looks like a lot of his team has late bye weeks. I think Josh Allen is the only guy he has before week 8. Oh no, Loveland's out week 5. So Sky Guasco is in the hole.
On deck.
Excuse me.
No problem. Trivia for the baseball fans out there. Who was on deck when Hank Aaron hit his home run?
Dusty Baker.
Count it.
That is
Nice
true.
job. Nice job.
That is true. Nice one, Derek.
What's it? Dusty Baker has been either playing, managing, or coaching at some level in like 30-something% of or is it 30? 30 sounds high, but it's something insane amount of percentage of Major League Baseball games all time that Dusty Baker's been a part of. Pretty wild.
Dude, he's been in MLB more than 50 years.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Oh, Sky gets Braylon Allen.
Got to do it. Starting running back.
I like that.
Starting running back in the 10th, not bad.
400 touches incoming.
That's right. I got another draft going on for my brother here in a work league. My brother's not big fantasy guy, so I'm just smashing these clowns for him. Half PPR. Hate it. I know. Don't tell my friends. My question is, do I go – I've got Derrick Henry in the first. We're in the middle of the round. Do I go Malik or Brian Thomas or Drake London, or do I stick with running backs and go like Achane, Kyron Williams, Amarian Hampton, Alvin Cook?
Can you probably start all those guys?
Receiver. No, I got to go high-level wide receiver, right?
I think so.
Yeah, even at half PPR – you get one of those elite wide receivers, those elite targeted wide receivers.
Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Drake London, Puka. I'm nervous about Neighbors. I mean, Neighbors. He's going to be incredible, but couple injuries. Makes me a little nervous.
Yeah, I don't think Drake belongs in that short list at that point, personally. But I like the other names.
I'm on deck. Malik. Oh, I'm in both leagues, huh? Nice.
Oh, we had another second quarterback taken, J.J. McCarthy.
And yet
Grimes
at the first pick hasn't taken a quarterback yet. Well, neither has Don. And neither has Sherman. So three teams have yet to take quarterback.
It's an interesting strategy. It could work for him.
3 teams have taken 2.
He's also only got 4 receivers and 6 running backs. Grimes. Interesting build.
Yeah, that's the beauty of these leagues.
I don't necessarily disagree with the no quarterback, but he's playing with fire because guys are starting to go off the board. He could go a long time. A lot of quarterbacks could go between now and 12-12. Although, let's see. Fluff has a quarterback. Captain has 2. Toe has a quarterback. Most teams have a quarterback except for Sherman Frank. So Keenan Allen just went off the board.
In the 4 spot.
Mr. Prescott went to Mr. Guasco. I love that pick.
I don't need a backup quarterback yet, but the highest upside. And if everybody else on this channel is right and Dak is top 5, might as well have a share.
Did you say if?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah. Are you questioning our acumen?
Absolutely.
I mean, the actions of the Cowboys today should just cement that prediction.
Oh man.
You know, part of that
1,000 times.
Part of that decision was based on the weakness of the Dallas defense, and I mean, I like the pick return. It'll pay it. Well, it should pay off in the long run, but yeah, it doesn't bode well for the Cowboys defense this year, for sure.
My first question when that trade hit was, how many more points a game do you think the Cowboys are going to have to score now than they did a few minutes ago? Somebody came back to me with 7 to 10. Okay, the captain went with one of the good RB2s. I like Tyler Algier, followed by a potential wide receiver 2 to toe in Christian Kirk. We got Ben somewhere on the road in the Outback, pondering his next pick.
Hopefully he's still on the road.
Yeah. I don't think my Joshua Palmer pick made him drive into a ditch. So
Ben's got a really balanced team. 4, 5.
Yeah, the Burrow pick looks really good now.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, that stands out right there in the middle as being a really solid pick. He handcuffed CMC with Robinson in the 11th. I like that. Yeah. Ben's definitely got a pretty solid squad there. You guys are going to have your hands full. Yeah, you're going to have your hand full with that one.
Okay, so I think I'm going to let a little time burn here. So we had Tyler Algier, Christian Kirk, Brian Robinson. I have 3 running backs, and I have 5 receivers because I had the awesomeness to pick my first 3 guys all with the same bye week. I have my quarterback, I have my tight end. So you got to kind of think this guy's probably going to go with a wide receiver here. I just need to decide which one I want and which one I may be able to pass on and maybe get him back, or see if I want a 4th running back with that second pick. We've got Sean telling us how fun it is to draft against quality players. I don't know. With all the charity leagues I play in, I only know people trading posts with them on Twitter. So there's a lot of leagues. The guys I know, I had a draft last week at this time with a bunch of the guys I know, and I've got 2 upcoming drafts with guys I know. So Kyle says he just needs to stay healthy, young O-line. So I'm going to assume he's talking about, let's see, don't know. He's got Austin Eckler, and he's got, is that Toe? Wait, let's see. I've got these guys' aliases. Kyle, yeah, Kyle is Toe. So is he talking about, could be talking about any of his guys. Okay,
yeah,
so I'm coming down Eckler to the last 32.
Yeah,
I think so Eckler too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make my next pick since I'm down to my last 20 seconds. It's really between 2 wide receivers for me, and I'm going to go with a guy that I think can take another step forward this year. And it's not a high volume passing offense, but I'm going to take Baltimore's Rashad Bateman with this pick. And now I at least can field the team in week 8.
Yeah, they just gave him a big contract. So
yeah, as long as everybody stays healthy, which is just a bad thing to say. I pretty much do my entire roster.
Yeah, just to clear that up, Kyle was talking about Dak, the Dak pick for Sky.
Oh, okay. So he was glossing Sky. I like that. We should be glossing the boss as well.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine
Well,
with me, folks. It's fine
Well,
with me.
for those who hadn't tuned in, that was the consensus with many of us in the Razzball staff that a healthy Dak this year finishes the top 6 fantasy quarterback. Write it down.
Yeah. So we've got the young running backs coming off the board right now. Trey Benson, Dylan Sampson, and Ollie Gordon. Like the Gordon pick, considering the state of both Achane and Jalen Wright. It's a guy I was considering. So now I'm back on the clock, and I have got to decide if I want a 4th running back or my 7th receiver. And I see a guy. There's 2 guys I like here. One's a guy that probably going to be at least a 1B in the offense until they sign their rookie. And another guy is a guy that's being kind of disregarded on a high-powered offense. And then the receiver I'm looking at is pretty much a new situation for them. New coaches, although the coach is an old friend of the organization, and they've got a bunch of young players, a young quarterback that seems to be on the rise. I think I am going to go with the receiver, and I won't let the clock run all the way down this time. I am going to take a pop. So we've got Demario Douglas off the board at 12:04, which means the running backs I was looking back at probably will not make it back to me.
When was the last time you took a running back, Dave? 6th round.
I think 1962.
Oh, jeez.
I've got Pacheco. Pacheco at 6:04 was my last running back.
I like it. I almost went Trey Benson went on the turn there. I almost took I have Braylon Allen.
Benson went right after I took Bateman.
Yeah, I have Allen over him, so I wouldn't have picked Benson, but I was looking at Benson when I took Braylon Allen at 10-10. So to get another almost a round and a half, that's nice. I think Trey Benson, James Conner's great as long as he stays great. But whenever those wheels do fall off, I think Trey Benson's going to be good and then some. Last year, I drafted him everywhere because I just did the analysis that I thought he would be that guy. Obviously, Connor stayed healthy, so it was moot. But, I think whenever it does happen, I think that Trey Benson is going to be awesome.
100% with you. I was looking at Benson at my spot that I took Bateman, with the knowing that he may not make it back to me, but I figure I would build up my receiver depth.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Benson's, if he's not the top, he's probably the top 3 running back handcuffs this year, in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's a guy with a clear the clear backup. He's probably not going to have a lot of guys below him nipping at his feet. I mean, who's there? Dave McCardo. They use him probably 30 times a year. And I think Algiers in a pretty good spot. I like that pick where he went. Brian Robinson, who knows? I know they traded for him. Kyle Shanahan said they wanted him to be their RB2, but I kind of have a hard time thinking that they've completely given up on Garendo already. Ooh, Kyle Pitts. Somewhere Jefferson is smiling.
Finally able to get him. I have all the other Falcons everywhere, and I haven't been able to get Pitts. He's just way too popular before the 12th round. Man, and my backup tight end, I mean, if he ends up being who we thought, I mean, the thing is, I feel great about saying that at the third to last pick of my draft because I'm relying on Kittle, obviously. But
Yeah.
I love Penix. I love Drake London. We all love Bijan. Obviously, the Falcons should take a massive leap forward, and Pitts should be a part of that. Camp looks great. Fresh energy there. Penix loves him. If he actually takes off, we know what the potential is there. So having him as my distant second in the 13th round, pretty much, that's an easy grab.
Well, and I mean, I love Kittle as much as the next guy, but he does tend to miss a couple of games a year.
Oh,
so,
man, he runs like a running back. He's awesome.
Oh, I am not calling him soft at all. He goes out there and initiates contact. I mean, him and Debo were both that way. It's amazing that they were able to play nearly all the games every year. I mean, other than one season, Kittle's only missed more than 3 games, I think, one time.
Sure.
So if you got a guy like that, taking a guy like Pitts this late, you're right. There's going to be some volume there. So, he may be boom bust, but, I like him as a backup if I'm investing that highly in a tight end.
Look at Uncle Ted in the chat throwing haymakers. Chris Rodriguez is a monster. How about Devontae Adams, Stafford, fire?
So
how about that?
Troy Franklin is the wide receiver to get. Burden is the wide receiver to get. Penix is going to win leagues. Jackson Dart's going to be the starting quarterback week 1. I just don't think too much of that is realistic.
Yeah, I love these haymakers. He should have been on our
the wild and crazy takes.
Crazy calls and
bold calls. These are bold calls. I probably should have reached out to him to make mine. I love those.
God, this other draft I'm doing right now with a half PPR is ridiculous. So heading into the 5th round, just hit the 5th round. My running backs are Derrick Henry, Kyron Williams, who I don't really like, but as an RB2 and a half PPR is awesome. Amari and Hampton and Alvin Kamara. So I have 4 running backs, my first 4 picks, all with different bye weeks, Dave. I hope that's okay with you.
Dude, you just are not staying with the plan.
But now I'm looking in the early, middle 5th round here, and if I wanted to, I have James Conner, Breece Hall available as like a 5th running back. That seems insane, obviously, but in a half PPR, it always leans running back heavy. My wide receivers are Jalen Waddle, who I like, George Pickens, DK. Who do you guys think for a pick like that? Top tight ends are gone.
Well, the Jets don't have enough footballs on the field to feed both Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. So
Fair.
You're either right about Braylon or you're right about Breece.
I like a wide receiver in the 5th.
Yeah, who are the receivers, Sky?
Devonta Smith.
I heard Metcalf.
Yeah, Devonta Smith, Waddle, Pickens, Metcalf, Worthy, Flowers, Teteroa McMillan, which I'll probably wait another round on. Sutton, who I like a lot. Calvin Ridley. I could probably get both those guys in the next round, but maybe I should reach if I like them the most. All these guys will be looking for running backs now, though. Yeah, half PPRs.
There are a lot of QBs going. Oh, you know what? I like Frank Grimes taking Justin Fields there. That is this build. This is the kind of quarterback you take. You're 100%. You want the ceiling play here. If Drake May had made it a little bit farther, that would have just been sweet for him.
Yeah, I actually like Drake May better than Fields.
Oh, 100%. But Drake May was off the board half a round earlier.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking in the 12th round. 12th round quarterbacks here, and I would.
You got to take Mixon eventually, I guess, and he just went off the board to to Sholin, New Hampshire. So,
Yeah, but he's got the running back
we do have
depth, so he can
we
take a
have an
chance.
IR spot too. Remember, so
Yep. Stash him on the IR. He's got 3 starting running backs already. Yeah, I like that. I like that pick there.
yeah, I do too.
You guys be feeling DK, Pickens, or Sutton for my wide receiver 1?
Well, I'll take any one of those.
I would have a coin flip between Metcalf and Sutton. Probably
Yeah.
lean a little bit on Sutton.
Yeah, I would agree. It's going to be one of those two. As much as I like Pickens this year, I'm going to want the team's number 1 wide receiver. So I'll take either DK or Sutton, and I could live with either one of them. I like Sutton's.
I got Sutton.
Team better, and I like his situation better. But you've got an older quarterback who we know who likes to throw it to people he trusts, and he's going to trust DK Metcalf. So
Uncle Ted says Sutton all day.
I could go either one.
Red zone target stud.
I went with Sutton, and I just, no shade, but I probably spilled the beans earlier. The particular platform I'm on for this draft is not my favorite. The ADP is crazy whack. Just, I look at these names, I'm like, where? Like, oh, that guy got drafted. Then I scroll twice. I'm like, oh, there he is. What the hell? Don't love that. I went with Tootin here in the 13th round again, just a super deep depth. A little bit banged up right now, but if he comes back halfway through the year, I feel fine about that. And I'm gonna go with Styles guy here to end it, unless somebody picks him on accident. But
100% on Tootin. It's the 13th round. What's that? Your 5th running back. You can wait on him. Spears is another guy that can come back and crush it. So I'm liking these picks.
What did Uncle Ted just say there? It moved up on me, but I think he said, "Live in Dallas, don't."
He said, "I live in Dallas, don't take Cowboys." I live in Dallas, don't take Cowboys passing game this year. Well, we already know how we feel. So
I don't know.
First of all, Uncle Ted, thanks for being here, brother. You are amazing. You are just like Derek said, throwing haymakers. It's fun to see, man. Keep it up. We are loving it.
And before we get out of here, go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say Ben's loading up on backup running backs too, man. 4 of his last 5 picks have been running backs.
'Tis the season. Smart.
It is. I'm on the clock. I'm going to take one quick look. Go ahead, Sky. I'll shut up.
Oh, I just wanted to mention to everybody before people start finish up their draft and logging off with us. Thank you everybody for hanging out with us. I was a little bit late this evening, so shout out to Derek, Ben, and Dave for holding it down. Also, special guests behind the scenes. Appreciate you, everybody, diving into our 3rd PPR listener league. And additionally, I'm sure you guys kicked off with this at the beginning of the program, but make sure you come back all season long to the program. We're live here on YouTube pretty much every night during the regular season. We double up on Sunday mornings, 2 hours before kickoff for a live start-sit show. We take 2 hours with all of us on the panel. We get hundreds of your questions. We will get to them eventually. So if you log in a question, it takes us 15, 20 minutes to catch up. That is normal. We're not avoiding you. But please stick with us and kick it out. Let us know your roster questions, your trade questions, start, sit, waiver, whatever. And we're available to you on Sundays, 2 hours before kickoff here on YouTube. And all these episodes get repurposed to the podcast as well. So you can check us out at the Razzball Fantasy Football Podcast anywhere you download your audio. So a lot of ways to stay in tune with us all season long. Obviously, the league chat here. And check out our website as well, Razzball or football.razzball.com, with all of our great articles from everybody and our exclusive tools. I just want to reiterate that before everybody logs off here. Dave, you got 50 seconds. Who are you going with?
I am going to take a guy that's going to break a lot of people's hearts. this is a guy that just shows up every Sunday. He's not flashy anymore. He actually ended my season, his rookie year, on the third to the last play of the game. He took his championship away from me, and he's never paid me back anytime I've ever drafted him. But we are at the end of the 13th round, and I think this is a guy that's going to have plenty of volume in this offense still. We're going to go with Najee here.
Nice. Someone's got to do it.
You know, I mean, I'm surprised with all the guys that have come off the board. Nobody's touched Najee. I'm either going to look like a genius, or more likely, I'm just going to look like a complete buffoon.
Well, Dave, we know you're real. We know you're the truth.
A real what? Okay, so we had Jalen Coker, who I'm warming up to Jalen Coker. I threw shade on him when Sky mentioned him one time in the chat room, but I'm warming up to Coker now that they've traded Thielen, and you know, he's definitely going to have a role. I love the Isaac Tesla pick from Roxanne there at the end of the draft. I think that's another guy. They unloaded Tim Patrick. I thought Tim Patrick was going to have the most of the wide receiver 3 looks in that offense, but I think they like what they're seeing with Tesla. I think that's a strong pick at the end of the draft by Roxanne. We've got Taj Brooks off the board. I like him more in Dynasty than I do in Redraft, but you know what? You never know. It's Sherman's 5th or 6th running back. Chig's another guy I have rising up. I think he could get a lot of volume in that offense, considering that the other guys are like Van Jefferson and a rookie wide receiver. And Tony Pollard. I think there's some volume there for Chig Okonkwo, at least early. I've got one more pick, and I've got one more running back I'm going to take. Another guy that has lost regard that always has performed for me. And Sky, thanks for mentioning all the streams. I kind of forgot to do that at the beginning of the show. We are absolutely looking forward to doing the Start Sit show this year. There's something I'd like to do on the show during the season to help bolster the brand and bring back some of the people that have been in our tournaments previously. So stay tuned. Come in on Sunday mornings. We all have a great time. So my last pick here is I'm going to empty my queue, which is kind of sweet. I'm going to go with Rachaad White. And that's
nice.
surprisingly only my 5th running back. Will Shipley just went off the board. Ben is team upside at the end of the draft. I love it.
That's how you got to do it, man. All of your, no matter what your settings are, anything like that, your final 3 to 4 picks, unless it really matters, should be shots in the dark. We see it every year that these guys sometimes pop out of nowhere, but they really should be those guys. Especially, folks, if you're playing in keeper leagues and stuff, that is absolutely your strategy. Even if it's like, okay, I got a good floor guy, he's going to be a wide receiver 3 on an NFL team. Don't do that. Grab a whoever, Tesla, somebody like that, who just could go off in the second half, and you could keep them for next year. That's generally what I'm looking at in my drafts.
Sure. I think Ben just crushed Kyle's dreams of getting the backup to Saquon.
My boy lasts all the way to the middle of the 14th and somehow can't make it 4 more picks. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean that's a nice recovery by Kyle there.
I like
the captain. Captain, you still with us?
Oh yeah.
So Brashard Smith, you like him to get a role there?
I do. I like it to increase towards the end of the year. But I already have 4 running backs. 3 of them are starters. So, like you guys
Yeah,
said,
no,
take a shot on upside at the very end.
that's a solid pick.
Yeah,
Then
he
we have
pairs well with
Darnell Mooney.
Mahomes.
Yeah, right. I mean, all the scuttlebutt I've heard on Smith is he could take a reasonable passing game role. I even heard somebody call him potentially Jerick McKinnon 2.0. We'll see if that
nice.
That's what I heard too.
if that works out for you. That's a really nice pick in the last round.
Thank you.
And Mr. Guasco took, that is the Matt Styles special right there. Kyle Williams at number 1410.
Yeah, I feel like Styles would be upset at us as a group if he wasn't drafted in general. And I got to be honest with you, I don't know if I can handle a fired up Styles over a Coug not going off the board while I'm during this move in my draft season. I got to be in the game. He would put me on tilt there, so I had to make sure that didn't happen.
I'm sorry. How do you tell the difference between fired up Styles and calm down Styles?
It's you ever see the meme, Dave? It's a penciled kind of a caricature of the dude playing video games, and then it shows the highlight of him leaning forward to get more serious. You ever see that? That's Styles. He's laying back in the chair, the arms are up, we're talking music, kind of just bullshitting in general. You got the avocado showing. He's chill. That's just regular old Matty Styles. But then you get the in front kind of clapping in the camera, a little closer. He's starting to peak the volume a little bit. Fired up Styles. It's very subtle, but you got to. Yeah, I've been studying him for a couple years now.
I now have a reference.
Yeah.
I now have a reference.
So somebody, I keep this comment section. Kyle and Uncle Ted and everybody else here are blowing up the comments, which I absolutely love. Do not stop. It's amazing. Keep it going. But I'm trying to keep tabs of that while I draft and do my other things. And I saw a while ago somebody screaming Chubb, draft Chubb, mixing out. And I'm looking on the board like, oh my gosh, Chubb is still available? Crazy. And I'm like, wait a minute. Ben took him in the 9th round. He's been gone for an hour. I was like, okay, never mind.
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously Ben didn't drive into a ditch. Or if he did, he's really good at drafting.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Yeah. Ben will be good. All right, time's up there. We got one more pick with Frank Grimes. So as we get out of here, boys, do you want to do just a quick recap? Maybe we'll get a head start here. Derek, I'm going to go with you. First of all, Derek, really pinch hitting tonight. You were not on the clock. You actually had some of your PTO originally set up for this night. You were going to hang out with the family, do your own thing. Last minute, I got held behind. Boom, you step up. No complaints. Absolute good clubhouse guy always. Coming out of the bullpen, no complaints. We love that, Derek. Appreciate you holding down the back of the fort always. Why don't you go first? Find a squad or pieces of a squad that you like most here, and then we'll pass it around the block.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it about halfway through. I mentioned that I liked Fluff's draft, and now that we've seen the rest of it, I'm really looking at these 4 teams in the middle. Between Fluff, Captain, Toe, and then Ben's team. Normally I tend to go at, prefer the early rounds or the later rounds. I'm really not a fan of the middle, but these 4 drafting in the middle did a really good job tonight. I think Ben's going to be really difficult for you guys to match up with. His team is just solid throughout. Even his 5th receiver, Tillman, is a favorite of mine. He's got an Njoku there, who's his only tight end, but Njoku is certainly one of those tight ends who are outside the top 7, but he could certainly creep his way in there. So I think Ben is going to, overall, top to bottom, I think Ben's team is going to be the one that's going to provide the most fits for everybody else.
See, Ben, You come on the program, bro, you get a full situation. Good work. And shouts out
Ben's
to Ben
getting
as
a
well.
lot.
I mean,
Ben's getting a
coming in
lot
hot.
of love. I think
Yes,
he
he is.
deserves it for taking the time to join us here from Aussie
From tomorrow.
on Saturday morning.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you, Ben. We appreciate you, brother. And again, Ben isn't on the program as often to everybody that's a regular listener, follower, watcher, because he is in Australia and the time difference. So when we do shows, it's usually early morning or late at night for him. But he is such a great writer and prolific. A little peek behind the curtain. Ben submitted 8 articles this last month. Everybody, they are all available on football.razzball.com. Ben has been cranking out his best fits, his steals, basically great values, not great values during drafts. I strongly recommend you go check out everybody's articles, but Ben specifically has been breaking down chunks of drafts throughout this last couple of weeks, seeing the trends in ADP. They've been really, really helpful for me to go, oh, wow, I didn't notice this guy's blown up draft boards or fallen, and why. So go check that out while you have the next couple days, I should say, of your final drafts. So Ben, appreciate you. Davey, who's your favorite team? Or I should say favorite team, but what is maybe a team, if not yours, you would love to roster?
I got to tell you, I agree with Derek quite a bit about the teams in the middle. I like Fluff's draft. I like Don Corbin quite a bit. The captain had a nice draft, and by the way, Captain, thanks for joining us. Sorry we didn't include you in the conversation a little bit more. But you've got a really nice team there. Most of these teams are gonna float. It's gonna be solid. I know Jamie was giving Roxanne some grief for drafting Bucky Irving and Chase Brown at the end of the 1-2 turn. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think those are solid picks. I think they're versatile backs that can do, a lot of different things. I don't think we saw their ceiling last year. Neither guy was starting at the beginning of the season. So I like those picks. I think there's a lot of upside there. I'm a big fan of James Cook. I know there could be some touchdown regression, but at the end of the 3rd round for a running back in that type of offense, I love it. I'm a little bit pumping the brakes on McLaurin, but I still think he's got red zone upside, end zone upside. I think Travis Hunter is going to be a nice pick, and Devontae Smith is a guy that you kind of disregard because he's a wide receiver too. But he's a good volume wide receiver too. I think he's going to have a nice season. I love Evan Ingram to bounce back in Denver, and I think the only thing to worry about with Mayfield is maybe a little bit of regression in touchdowns, but I think the volume and the yardage is going to be there. And to get him at 801, I think that's a solid pick. He's a potential top 5, top 7 quarterback. And then I like some of her picks later in the draft. Coleman, love Marvin Mims there. Ollie Gordon's a potential steal in the 11th at the end of the 11th round as a depth piece. Goddard's a nice backup tight end, and she's got Justin Herbert as a backup quarterback. And Tesla was a great pick at the end of at the top of the 12th round. So I like that. I like that squad too.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was gonna mention Roxanne's team as well. So let me audible here just to bring up somebody else. Skoll in New Hampshire. Solid squad. Bijan, obviously. Browers, obviously. Lamar Jackson, obviously. I love Sutton, who I picked in my other one. Ibuka, who we can't stop talking about. Golden, who's shot up the drafts. And then to land, I mean, maybe not fancy, but certainly going to be plug and plays as the top option, at least for a little bit. Jones and Tracy, Mark Andrews should bounce back. And if he does, then you have that stack with Lamar Jackson, which we loved for a couple years till he fell off a little bit. I've mentioned countless times that I love me some Trey Harris in as the Chargers. And then McCarthy is a backup. Thielen, Mixon. Obviously, Mixon's a wild card. And then Thornton, I think, is a steal down there too. So really solid squad there. I also like the middle drafts, as you mentioned. I mean, honestly, I don't think it's always the case that you pull out of a draft, you're like, man, all these teams are really solid. Sometimes somebody just stands out as like, I don't really want that squad for whatever reason. I legitimately don't feel that way about this draft.
I'm excited about how competitive this league's going to be.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to give Pigpen 2 shout-outs. First of all, the Chris Farley avatar immediately puts you in the top 5 favorite teams. It's kind of an automatic situation for me there. So that's
we
great.
may be handing him the $200 just for the avatar.
I mean, at minimum, a consolation prize. Yeah, I agree. So I like that squad a lot. And then Nico Collins, I love. Genty in the 2nd round. What happened? Like, he's a top 8 pick everywhere else. Like that's awesome right there. And then Garrett Wilson, look, we'll see what happens, but that's a back of the 3rd, almost 4th round. That's a great pick if that turns out. Jalen Hurts is, I mean, we know what he's capable of, could potentially be the number 1 if he keeps scoring touchdowns. Everybody else, a little bit of wild cards down there, but I like it a lot. And look, when Ayuk comes back, and if Coker and Benson get an opportunity, if Kupp gets back to anywhere close to where he's been, there's a lot of back-end opportunity there too for Pigpen. So a lot of solid squads in this group.
Yeah, and one we didn't mention that is really it's very blue, but Sherm's squad, and I think Derek mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, is that's a loaded wide receiver room right there. I mean, when you've got Jalen Waddle as your wide receiver 5, I like what he did. And to come back, he took Henderson in the 3rd, at the end of the 3rd, and then he came back in the 8th, at the beginning of the 8th, and he got Jalen Warren as his running back 2 with those receivers, and then Tucker Kraft in the 9th as his tight end. I just love that squad. He waited until the end of the draft. I think he was the last team to take a starting quarterback. And I know this is not a Styles-approved pick, but I'm very interested to see what they do with Ben Johnson in that offense. I think that whole division, speaking of NFL teams, I think that's the best division in football this year. And I think totally Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams can take a step up. I think he's going to have some work to do. I think he's still going to have a lot to learn going into year 3, but I definitely think he takes a step up. And he wasn't, I know Matt hates him, but he didn't turn the ball over a lot last year. He didn't throw a ton of touchdowns, but he still had 3,500 yards. And for a Bears quarterback, I think Chicago will take that for a rookie. So I love that squad too. I think all these squads are solid. I think we're going to have our work cut out for us.
Yeah, you guys have a competitive league here. There's no question about it. This may have been the most competitive draft that we had this week.
Yep, I like it a lot. All right, everybody.
So kudos, everybody. Give yourselves a round of applause. We're really looking forward to playing in this league.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I appreciate everyone for hanging out with us tonight and getting it going. Again, boys, shout out to the panel here for stepping up as I'm on the go. I've got a lot going on personally here, and it's all great things, but you guys have really stepped up this week. The Raz team has had 5 drafts in the last week, and not to mention the Razzball marathon. That was like Davey Cruz. Extra shout out to you and Styles for heading that. Derek, you've been behind the scenes on every single draft. Dave's been jumping in the chat for other drafts, and all these are repurposed again on the podcast. So make sure you tell your friends, and get back, listen back to it. And again, keep tuning in to the Razzball Fantasy Football Show all season long.
Before we leave,
questions, hit us up.
Before we leave, I have a couple of things I want to say. First of all, Captain, if you're still with us, thanks for joining us. It's been a blast. I like your team. This is going to be a great league. You got anything you want to say before we sign off?
I really enjoyed it. I appreciate you having me, and thank you for putting the league together. I can't get enough fantasy football, so this was another opportunity, and I'm happy to have it.
That's the attitude we're looking
Yeah,
for.
instant friend of
Yeah,
ours. Can't get enough.
These are addicts that aren't even ashamed. We are just we are potentially terrible people. So, thanks for letting us drag you down into our mire. It's fun, and we've already had a player pickup done.
Nice.
Somebody already jumped in, put a guy on IR, and picked up DJ Giddens of the Indianapolis Colts. So
Love it.
This league is off to a flying start.
I love it. Well, and please, Captain, also don't be shy. If you want to jump on some Sunday morning, grab a warm beverage of your choice and join us for a couple of minutes on a Sunday and give some analysis on some picks, man. We would love that. So you're more than welcome.
Very possible I will, but I'm in several dynasty leagues, and I'm doing some best balls. I'm going to be busy on Sunday mornings.
Hey, I love that.
That's
for
the
you, man.
thing. That's the thing. We're always scrambling to get our lineups in. That's where we're going to miss Bob the most.
Yeah, absolutely, holding it down. I like that a lot.
Thanks for having me.
All right, take care,
All right, man. Thanks for joining us, brother.
Appreciate everybody hanging out with us.
Fluff Daddy, don't forget us on Sunday mornings as well if you get the chance. We're here. We're here to entertain. So sorry about that, Sky. Take us out, brother.
No, I get it, man. Davey, nice job. Matt as well. Captain, thank you again. Fluff Daddy and everybody else in the chat. We appreciate you. Great week for Razzball and the team, man. Everybody deserves a pat on the back. Awesome job. Make sure you catch all of the content at football.razzball.com. Make sure you check out all the tools. There's a drop-down list there of all the tools available to you. Very exclusive to Razzball, very specialized, and they help tremendously with matchups and everything else for draft season, but then also week-to-week analysis also. All of our articles are available at football.razzball.com for free. And you can, of course, check out right here on the YouTube channel. Make sure to smash the button and subscribe so you don't miss any of our action throughout the season. And hit that podcast as well, Razzball Fantasy Football Show. We're having a great time. We appreciate everyone hanging out with us. Let's get rolling here and enjoy the rest of our drafts for the evening. Everybody have a great one. Best of luck. Enjoy your long weekend. Happy Labor Day. Bless up to everybody working hard out there. We appreciate you. For Dave and Derek and Captain and the rest of the squad here in PPR League 3. My name is Sky Guasco. We'll catch you next time. We are out of here.